Today is Friday, day 112. I meditated this morning. I talked about this a little bit in the other video, yesterday's video, about the Strava setting functional power threshold, FPT. And you calculate it by, basically it's like the maximum wattage you could theoretically pedal for an hour. And then to calculate it, that's really hard to do for an hour, so they just recommend you do it for 20 minutes. And if you can do it for 20 minutes, it's about the same wear and tear on your body, so theoretically you could do it for an hour. So that was what I decided to go ahead and do that. Today was the 1st of April, and I think every month I might do this to kind of see if you've increased your functional power threshold over time. So the goal I was going to set was to average 220 watts. That was kind of what I wanted to do. To give you just a little background, if you don't know these things, if you average like 167 watts, you usually get 10 kilojoules a minute. So if you do a 45-minute class, you end up around 450 kilojoules. Every, about 17 more watts, you get another 1 kilojoule per minute, right? So if you end up getting 184 average watts, then you end up getting 11 times 45, which is 495 kilojoules for the class. Now, oftentimes a lot of my classes are around that 11 kilojoules per minute range, where I'm always in that high 400s, low 500s. But my record was 530 something for a 45-minute class, 531, which is almost 12 kilojoules per minute. Right, because 12 kilojoules per minute would be 12 times 40, 45, right? So 90 plus 450 is 540. So I was almost at 12. So my goal was 220 because that would be about 13 kilojoules a minute. And because I'm only doing 20 minutes, I thought I could maybe sustain that over the course of 20 minutes. So if I do that for 20 minutes, I end up with about a 260 output, which would be a record for me because my highest output for 20 minutes is like 234. So in order to do this, I needed to have a 10-minute warm-up session before doing it, and then warm up the legs so that immediately I could start out the gate at a high resistance. Now, I figured the best way for me to keep a high resistance is to just try to sustain a high wattage. And then as I get tired, change it up, maybe stand a little bit and then go back. So that's what I was going to try to do. So I know for me, if I keep about 52, 53 resistance, and I pedal about 80 to 85, I'm usually around like 215 to 235, kind of bouncing around in there depending on how fast I'm pedaling. And so that was what I was going to try to do, and I was going to try to sustain that for as long as possible, and then maybe stand in the saddle and go at a higher resistance just to stretch out a little bit and then go back to it. Now, I don't know if this is ideal, and then maybe at the last minute finish with like an interval or pushing it really hard. I think this is a better way to go than interval training for a higher output, because when you interval train, you exhaust your body so much that you have to really pedal lightly, and I think you end up lowering your average. I'm not 100% certain on this. So anyway, this was my thought. So that's what I tried to do, and so I immediately did exactly that. I spent the first 6 minutes of the 20-minute class around that 220 watt range. I started off at like a 223 average, and it was gradually dropping 222, 221, 220, and then it was down to about 219 at the 6-minute mark. So that's when I decided to kind of up the resistance and go slower cadence and just kind of stretch out, and still exhausting, and my heart rate was getting elevated, but a different kind of exhausting. So, and I kind of boosted the average back up to 221, and then I sat back down, and so I kind of continued between those two things. And in the end, I pushed hard for that last minute. The class was actually 21 minutes, so I actually stopped a minute short of the class because I don't know why it was 21 minutes. I didn't want to have an extra minute worth of output so that I could never maybe break that record again. Or not for a long time. So I did exactly 20 minutes instead of 21 minutes, and I averaged 221 watts, and I ended up hitting like a 264 kilojoules for the class, which was a record by about 30 for me. So then I got to see these new charts, which are power thresholds that you want to kind of keep in different buckets for your workouts. So it's kind of a neat way. I think I will do this every month though, because theoretically, when you're biking every day, your power threshold should go up over time. So I know there's no way I could have done this 220 average, 8 weeks ago. So I know I've definitely improved on that front. So it'd be interesting. Maybe every beginning of the month I'll do it again. But anyway, very exhausting. I had like 11 minutes out of the 20-minute workout in the orange zone. The 162 plus heartbeat. So I was. It was draining, and it's a very tiring thing to do because you're literally pushing hard the whole time. But yeah, so I have another data point to work with on the Strava. So that's why I wanted to do it, get it calculated, because I have more charts and things that I could track and kind of compare to. Anyway, so that was the workout today. I kept it, just a 10 and a 20-minute workout, but that 20-minute workout was really hard. Okay, and then tomorrow I weigh in, so I will see you tomorrow.